not a senior head or Grand Master instructor.
You've been coming to a lot of classes. About a third degree and second degree. Welcome, everyone. Okay, warm up. And switch. Okay, bring it in. And bring it out. All right, and move forward. And switch. Okay, that's good. All right, and just transiting still. Next. Oh, I said today was the Prueba Pop. Today is the pop quiz. Remember when we were leaving? Yep. So you can prepare your answers. We'll wait till we start. Switch. do the commencement one too. Well, interesting. The video just cut out. Let me fix it real quick. Or maybe just that signal of that one did. Okay, looks like it's still good on this end. It's just not good down there. A few more. All right. Yin yang balancing, chi mobilizing. And a few more. All right. And circle the hands up, push the palms in. Before we run the form, I'll lead it the first time, and then we're at the stage where you lead it. So if someone wants to lead it, any one of you three, I'll ask you after we've done it. But before you get there, raise your hand if you remember the question I asked at the end of last class. What was the question?
Pop quiz?
Yeah. Yeah, that I was gonna pop quiz on what?
This
Yeah.
guy.
Do you remember the correction? And so, was that what you remembered? Yeah. It was.
That and the, keep the
Oh, yeah.
weight on the right instead of switching
On what part?
on the lazily tying the rope.
Yep, on lazy time your rope. So, if that doesn't make sense, you have to review the last video. And we're gonna just go from the top. I'll lead it once, not too fast, go more of a walkthrough pace, not at full speed. But when you do it, then you can be the one that brings up the speed when you lead it. All right. Okay. Very good. Well, I didn't know what you did. I just heard you do it. So, you ready yet?
Yep.
If you want to? Yeah? No pressure. You want to say no? You okay? Okay. Yeah, come on up and lead it once. Follow Mr. Weiner. Now, this time I am watching you because we're in the stage of doing correction, right? So I'm not like staring at you, but I'll be whenever you're ready.
Good.
forget moves too sometimes. Mostly it's for like looking at how you do the moves. So I've covered this one before, but why not get it today? And it's more like a strong guy problem. Because if you have a lot of strength in your upper body, which both of you do, then you're not necessarily inclined to use your hips, right? Whereas Ms. Burns, just in contrast, has less strength in her upper body. Do you agree? Yeah. So she picks up on she knows nothing's going to happen unless I turn my hips on this. So I'm referring to when we do the punch throughout the whole entire form, both of y'all don't turn your hips at all. You just do an arm punch. And so, so that means your hips just kind of stay in one place and they're not turning. That's just a matter of focus. If you were unaware of that, were you unaware of that?
I wasn't thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you unaware of that?
I was trying to do it right, but
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that I pointed it out, then you'd be like, oh, let me check that out. Let me see what I'm doing. If you bravely view this later, not everyone's comfortable seeing themselves do Tai Chi, Kung Fu, or seeing themselves on camera at all. Have you seen yourself do that before?
I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to. So, no, I understand. But if you ever decide to, you have a teacher in you, an evaluator. You can look at someone's routine and go, you know, I can tell what they need to work on. Okay, well, you're not the teacher, thankfully, because maybe they don't want to hear from you. Okay, or maybe you are friends and you train together and they're like, hey, dude, you said this in class all the time and you just not doing it. Are you going to do it? So, but looking at it is like, oh, I look like that? Oh. And then you can take that critical, like the trick to it, if you ever want to brave it, because I have to look at videos of myself all the time over all these years. At some point, it just flips, and I'm not seeing that is me. I'm just observing it, going, huh? Oh, wow, he's pretty good. Or oh, he thinks he's lower in his stance. I'm talking about myself still. He thinks he's lower in his stance there than he is.
you said that many times.
Yeah, because you get tired. You're like, this must be really low because my legs are shaking. And you look at the video, you're like, I ain't even been in my knees at all. So, but that's a different issue than your form. So, what it would mean, and it's a little skewed when we look at the form here, because all the punches, the cannon fists throughout this whole section are, guess what? Where are they punching? To the corner. So from your internal perspective, it may not be just from upper body strength dominant. It may be like, oh, if I was straight to the mirrors or straight that way, like 38 form, because the 38 form lines them up, right? And then you sink and you punch. And now your hip is to the corner. But all of our punches, same punch, quarter turn. It's like Yang style diagonal single whip. You're like, whoa, it's different. It's like, it's just, you just, the room looks different to you, and so now it's hard to internalize. So I've come to whatever one it is. That was one here, right? We're here, and we go here. I've stepped diagonal, which means when I finish punching, my hips should, well, let's see. So when I finish punching, the hips should be with the wall, not a corner. Does that make sense? If my hips are to the corner, that's like punching like this. So if I do a 38 form punch, I'll do the one here, and I step laterally, I shift, I circle, sink on the right, shift over and punch, my hips are to a corner. And I'm punching to a wall. Here, on this whole set, we're punching to a corner, which means the hips should face a wall. And that could be a source of like, the problem is single whip. If I said do 38 form, maybe every time you always turn your hips for the punch. But for some reason, do this, you say, but yeah, oh, you don't do it, you're like, yeah. No. You'd have to, no, still turn more. So, on your own, just for a second, even you, Ms. Burrs, like, just kind of reinforce it. Just pick one of the punches. You could do a 38 form and see if your hips are turning, where you're facing a wall. on the punch, and then you can travel into the corner. I'll let you kind of wrap your brain around that for a second without further input from me. At home, do the same thing. Even if you think you got it, just kind of double check. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget that, y'all didn't just start yesterday. So it's like I could tell you it, you can kind of, okay, sir, I will work on that. And then next time you have it.
I know, I got my habit from doing applications on minutes. I have to turn my hips, so I always like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work if I don't turn my
Yeah.
hips.
And then the hips.
You have hips. We're not centered around our hips, but we learn to become centered around our hips. So that same strength thing, that's the solution to it. The other thing that messes up your form because of it being shoulder leading instead of center leading. Yeah, see, that's better. Yeah. And it can actually still, and you're looking for more turn. More turn doesn't come by staying in the center. If I just turn a lot here, I twist up my knees and lose my balance. I need to be traveling onto that other leg. And feels, even though visually it looks like I'm on both, that's it. You did it on that side, now can you repeat it on that side? Do it again. That's a good setup. And then go, and then freeze. Stay there, turn your hip. Keep your punch this way. Like, bring your fist towards me. And then keep turning that way. That's the turn. Yeah, by the way, that's the amount of load up you had on the other side. The amount of load up you had here, and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Look, your shoulder, yeah. Guess what? And then look, where were your shoulders facing at the end? The mirror, right? So if your shoulders aren't facing the mirror, what happens at the end of that, if you don't turn, is you start lifting the shoulder to put the fist where you see I'm putting. It does go there, but it gets there by doing that.
Feels like your arm's a lot longer when you do it that way too.
Yes, and that's, well, when you train, like we talk about different routines, talk about whole different martial arts. We have a section in in part of our training for Kung Fu where we're doing these big arm motions, the big swings, and that's kind of as if there's anything that could be similar between Hungar and Chen, besides the low stances, it would be the swinging type of arm motion. Although those are completely different techniques. Okay. So, that's quite a bit. See, let's go ahead and have someone else lead around again. And then, but the focus now won't be like remembering the moves exactly like you're supposed to, but just thinking about that your hips turned as opposed to the arm reaching out. Does that make sense? So if you feel that arm reaching out a little bit more, it's like, oh, if I turn my hips and sunk. But I'm gonna let you guys work on it and see if Miss Burns will lead. So you're not having to like work on it at the same time. So she kind of, you're still gonna think about it too.
Oh, yeah.
And no one's watching right now. I don't know if anyone will ever watch this video. We're getting into some obscure stuff that only like a diehard will be like, oh. Hey, if you're that diehard and you're watching this 5 years from now, send me an email, let me know. Remember what you're focusing on. So just on this part, we did this thing. We are here, and we go like this. It's the right foot that comes in first, but it's left goes out, left comes back, left goes out, left comes back. Then, after you've done that, it'll be right goes out, right comes back. So that was, no, right goes out. Yep, right goes back. Right goes out. Right goes back. And then you can step easily this way and do the kicks. So it's a common mistake now that I've taught it for a while. I'm just gonna reiterate it one more time. We did the jump thing whoop, here, and when I start, that's my left coming that way and back, that way and back. And then once I get here, I'm switching, and then now it's going to be the back leg. Nope, that's where you get it, right there. It'll be the back leg coming from. Yep. It's easier for, yeah, there it is. It's easier for Kung Fu to get it because we've drilled in equally something called left front sweep, and we also drilled in right front sweep. Right leg. We may have these things that go boop boop both sides, so they're like, oh yeah, I'm sweeping. Oh, and actually, that's more like crane sweeps. We have the crane sweeps. So, all right. I think we're done with the. It froze again. I'm not sure if it's only frozen on the iPad or if it's frozen there.
They're
I
right
can't,
in the middle of
yeah,
the bar.
believe you're, no,
Yeah,
you're
not frozen.
still on.
Not frozen. Okay, good. As long as it's just the iPad, I'll reset the iPad in a second. So, if you're at home, get your fan. If you're here, take a break, get your fan, and we're on schedule. Last time we went over, we did more Erlu stuff, and both times we started on time. Someone, oh, it froze again. Oh no, it's just my head being still. Someone commented at 4:32 on the Little Dragons class. Wait, what date is it? Oh no, on Miss Kelly's class. They wrote beast mode with the with the arm symbol. Because it gives you the chat. Beast mode.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Somebody's commented before.
I'm like, okay. Good. I was not glad they were talking about me because I'm like really didn't get it. But if they're talking about Miss Kelly, I'm like, oh okay. She probably said something to the kids. All right, you got fans. Again, I'm happy to lead it, so I will. We didn't do any corrections, or do we have corrections on this slide?
We definitely
We
did.
didn't. Who remembers what those are?
It was more of like leading with the hips. 'Cause it was. Do you remember doing this one?
Just open,
Yeah,
stay in the back leg.
Yeah.
yeah, that was,
Yeah, staying on the back leg. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then these are like this.
Yeah, so we had done a step, and we settled a little bit, and then we come here, and then I'm saying it's like an elbow and this, but I stay on the back leg.
Right.
Then there's the.
But I always did like this. So.
Yeah, because it's not, again, I'm just using one master's video as a reference so that we can stay consistent. On this form, it's a modern form, and at some point, I might look at a lot of videos and stuff. maybe talk to my friend down in Houston that has a school, and just kind of like, hey, what did you learn? And like you find out, oh, okay. Once you understand the purpose of it, you're like, what's meaningful as far as what you see? Should it really be exactly like that, or does it matter? Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
So when we're doing a strike, I think opening the fan is like picturing the effect of the strike, right?
I'd say that it's kind of like.
Notice like this with the shoulder, it's like picturing the effect of it. You know?
Yeah. I think it's good. It's like in Kung Fu when we slap our hand.
Yeah, it's like power.
Yeah, you're like boom boom. There's my hit. Yeah, it's like saying, It's the Yeah, it's good assessment. All right, let's start from the top.
Yes, sir.
Get a little closer to the camera this time. All right. Step. Might want to see around. You lit it last time? Did you lit it last time? You want to do it this time again? Yeah. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so, well, for the amount of time we have left, I can pick something again.
I have.
Or I was gonna say, or if you have a question, we can focus on that, because I can see that you don't, all three of you don't feel like 100% comfortable even with the pacing, the sequence, and so on. It's not so much about correction as much as it is like, there's still some sequence stuff, right? Go ahead.
So, I noticed it both times. When at the getting close to the end, after we did this guy, and we did this and the side kick, and the fan opens. Does the fan open? Like I'm doing it like.
Yeah, it opens like this.
You're right, but does it open? I want to do it so like the kick and the fan open at the same time, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it seems like everyone else is doing it like that.
Well, I don't know. Does that everyone else include me?
Yes.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm just.
No, it's okay.
It's just my timing seems off.
Wait, the fan's late or early?
My fan is late.
Like it's coming after the kick.
I don't want it to.
Is that what you're saying? It's coming after the kick. Okay. So,
It's yeah.
here it is, and pump, pump, bring it in, and that doesn't seem like the same time, or does it?
Yours does.
Okay.
It does that, yeah. But I guess mine doesn't. So mine is like.
Let's see it.
And it doesn't pop either.
Is there a problem with the fan? Oh,
It's not
we'll have to sanitize it.
No, I can do it. I just the angle. I can't do it that. I've never.
Oh, for your wrist?
No, it's just I don't know. I can do it every other way, but not that way. Yeah.
Well, your
So-
hand's like this, it's,
Yeah.
Mr. Haley's hand looks like he sits up.
Yeah.
I would pop it back a little bit.
It's just a matter of holding the hand in position. So when it comes out, don't flick
go
the
out.
wrist.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
just do a palm strike like that. Palm strike like that. And that'll make it pop. If you bend the wrist, I don't know how to do it wrong.
Yeah.
But
I can tell you.
so what you don't see, yeah, go ahead, try it. But you have to practice it.
Yeah.
That was better. It had a little pop. Yeah. But watch out. Your fingers end up pointing. Keep your fingers pointed towards your nose. There you go.
Ah.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, if the fingers move a little bit, you take the spring away. It's like doing the whip, but you're soft on the ending. You gotta stop your hand to create the snap. You gotta stop your hand from doing it. But you understand, you got it. It was a little practice. Oh, here's another way of doing it. Think of elbowing. Yeah. Yeah. Now if you kick an elbow at the same time, alright. There it is. It'll take some practice because you'll have that habit of the old.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was good for you watching there, because that's a little correction. So we went like this, twist, push, and stomp, cross, and I love these questions. It's much more interesting than reminding you where your foot goes. Any others?
I got some little ones.
You bring them on.
Early on, I guess it's right before this, so it's.
It's before the single whip.
Oh, I guess it's before all the fancy fans. It's after the single whip.
After the single whip.
So, this guy.
And yes, right here. This guy. What's my left hand doing?
Oh, okay, cool.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's there.
Let me show the screen too.
Yeah.
It's doing this is the answer to your question directly.
Okay.
So we've done that. We've done the single whip where I have my back to the camera here. I'm going to turn it here so the camera can see it. Since we're not learning the form for the first time, I'm here and I twist. See the left hand,
Okay.
and then I just come back.
Okay.
And if I twist, I'm really also trying to twist my wrist here. If you dig back through my videos, I emphasized this a lot when I was teaching this for the first time on video. But it's twisting, and then it's it creates a flutter without trying to make a flutter.
And then with the step, is it doing the same
And the
thing?
step does the same thing.
Okay,
It also creates a little flutter with the fan.
right, okay.
But only if you do the initial twist, so that when you try to turn back, you see how it did that thing I talk about with when we have a sword. It only spun once, but we turned around while we did it, so it looked like it did spin more for the audience. For you, it was once. For the audience, it did twice. You know, because a spinning object turned around while spinning it creates another. What's that called? Tracer. Like a tracer. If we had tracer lights on it, you'd see it go. Whoo, whoo. So the same thing here. Because we twist, when we come back, it ends up flicking. We twist, and it ends up flicking. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And then earlier, same, it's my left hand, a lot of times it just, I don't know what he's doing. Because we did the,
These are good questions. The punch in here.
the one we do the 3. Oh, right before the flip. So we do the punch.
Oh yeah, you know
We
what?
got 1,
Honestly, I'm not
2,
sure what he's doing with his hands either. I have to review the
3.
video.
I guess I think when,
Here, I'll show you what I think it is, but really, I personally have to review the videos. I'm like, well, wait a minute, does his hand stay out? Where does his hand stay in? Wait a minute, what should he do? So we're talking about, we've done this thing where
we did the punch,
yeah,
the
so
slow
here,
punch.
and we go here, and we go here, and it's like, wait, does his hand go now, or does it go later? Does it stay there, or does it come back? I know here, by the time he gets here, it's just doing the lean and back.
Okay,
And then when it gets here, I'm like, ooh, should I have it come down? I believe it does come down. And then it touches when you open it.
okay,
And then it flips up, and you catch it, and turn and do the thing.
right.
Well, there's a little while you said prayer for the third one.
Prayer for the third one? I don't know what you're talking about. That's my point. I think I've said that, but really it stays. Like I just thinking, I like to just keep it there. Same with this guy that dips, you know, after we do here. I mean, he might separate and then not touch till it gets here. But for some reason, it just feels natural for it to stay touching here, all the way to here and come up. It doesn't separate. So I'll have to research that and get back with you for that answer. Or you can research it and tell me what the answer is too. But one thing it definitely doesn't do is just stay there on your hip. Okay? All right, so do I need one more time? Yeah, sir. Let's give one more question. We need one more question or one more time.
More time.
Okay? Double time? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, ready? And begin. Actually, I'll let it done slowly and control myself on that. Next assignment, put it in your other hand. Step to the right instead. Come up, come down, and then take the form the other way. And twist up. And then step. I still stepped with the wrong foot. So you take you have to turn, and then come here. And then sink, and then twist, and then pop here. Open. Yeah, just one. You got it? My teachers would do that all the time, like, all right, good. Teach yourself the other side. They say to say, teach yourself in reverse. Like start at the end of the form and move like the recording is going backwards. We honor the masters who came before us and seek to follow their examples.
About a Grand Master instructor.
Thank you. About a third degree and second degree advanced black sash classes.